I was just chatting with my friend who's a financial advisor, and he said one of the most common things he spends his time doing is hosting events in his local community and trying to find, high net worth people he can help. And one of the most interesting things about that is I asked him, what is the worst part about these events? And he said, the events are actually so easy to set up. He's got relationships with restaurants and local things like the pickleball courts. But the problem is he actually has to spend so much of his time researching the people after they attend and then prioritizing who to follow up with and then actually writing that follow-up. And I said, oh my gosh, I just helped a large enterprise actually deploy the same sort of agent. And I just thought it would be interesting to show you this really like common use case, whether you're an FA or if you're just a salesperson and you host a lot of events. So check it out. We actually have to break this process up into 3 different agents. So the first is the prospect research agent. It's probably connected to your CRM, whether that's HubSpot or Salesforce, but the way this process kicks off is you host an event, and then the list of prospects that attended the event get fed into this agent. What the agent does is it actually ingests all of these names. Sometimes you have other details on these people too, like their address or their email, or maybe like a note left in your CRM about what they talked about. That gets fed into an agent, and it creates a ton of additional data about these people, finds everything they can about their profiles online. Then we have the prioritization agent. So the prospect agent then hands off that output to the prioritization and scoring agent. This basically takes my criteria and says, okay, out of all of those people, who do we prioritize our reach outs to? Every company does this differently. In some cases, I've seen companies say, like, here's the priority list. Here are people that we want to nurture. And then maybe here are people that aren't exactly our ideal customer profile, but we want to keep them engaged. Once you have that prioritization and scoring, it then gets handed to the third agent, which is the personalization and the outreach agent. This is connected directly to Outlook and Salesforce. So basically, this will automatically create the drafts of those emails and then ship them directly to your inbox. You read through those drafts and then you send the ones that you like. Let me show you how this works in Writer. So taking this example a little bit further, let's just say I'm a Fidelity financial advisor. I asked Writer to create this like nifty landing page. It was like alternative investments are really popular now. So an evening on private markets, looking beyond traditional portfolios. Imagine I just hosted this event. 30-something people joined. What do we do now in Writer to write personalized follow-ups to all of those people? Let me show you. So this is my home screen. Imagine we showed up to work the next day. I'm like, oh gosh, I've got 30 people I need to organize and then follow up with. Well, we have 4 agents that actually get this job done for us. So I'm going to click the event to outreach orchestrator. What's really cool is this is the orchestration agent that sits on top of all 3 of these, and it actually does the handoffs for them. What's great about orchestration agents is you can basically connect any process in your business. So for instance, that research step is probably a useful agent for other processes that exist within my workflows. Let me show you what this does exactly. This actually will take the research, it'll then prioritize and score all of the prospects, and then it's going to draft personalized Fidelity outreach. And I can simply go into my attendee list here. This is what that full list looks like. It's a CSV file. I can upload that directly into Writer. I'll say this is a Matt Sobel hosted event, and then maybe I have some additional detail about the events. In fact, everything here is optional. So I'm just going to press go. It's actually going to pull details about the event directly from our CRM or HubSpot, like I said before, which adds a lot more kind of context for the agent too. So while this gets to work, you can actually see it's going to follow each of those different steps. You have the research step, the prioritization, and then the personalized outreach, which lands directly in Microsoft Outlook. So what do each of these steps look like, and how do we define them? So on this screen, you have the main agents that I'm using. One is the orchestrator that connects the 3 of them. And then you actually have each individual agent. So if I click into one of them, let's just say it's the research agent. What does that actually look like? Well, I can click edit here. We call these playbooks because this is the playbook that the agent follows. So this is a standardized process in our business. You can see the connectors that we have to connect for this specific use case. There's a whole list of them. You can see here we can add additional context for the agent. We can include skills. So in fact, I can select this Fidelity brand specialist skill. And that's how the agent knows how to create the emails in the same brand and style that we need. And then over here, you actually see the bullet points walking through the logic for each of these steps of the process. So for each prospect, research and infer the net worth band that they might be in, their life stage, career and asset signals. These are all things that matter to the financial advisor. So we're basically hiring our own junior employee to go out and do research on every single person. So now if we go back to the agent that we kicked off, so let's let this thing run and we'll come right back and I'll show you the outputs and what this all looks like at the end. My agent just notified me. It said, hey, we're all done. So let's take a look at what we came back with. So 3 different files here, the prospect profiles, the ranked pipeline, and then the outreach drafts. So prospect research profiles, it's kind of cool. This one has a table of contents. So I can see, okay, Linda, what was she like? I know her location, but I didn't know her inferred net worth was going to be as high as this. Maybe she should be a priority prospect. Let's see what that came back as. And it's just like a ton of deep research on all of these individuals. Really, really helpful. In itself, actually a super valuable agent. But then when it gets passed to the ranking agent, you actually can see it uses this scoring methodology. So it says all of these different dimensions, whether it's asset potential or intent or service fit. It'll then prioritize each of them. And it says, okay, 6 of the 38 people that attended your dinner last night really qualify as a priority prospect. This is amazing intel and super valuable. Actually, you should probably be running an agent like this across your CRM in perpetuity, ranking prospects, making sure that you're attending to the most important people to your business. And then lastly, you have the outreach drafts. And all of these are going to be for the priority people that we identified. So those 6. Instead of checking them out here, let's actually just go into Outlook. So let's see, we should have some drafts here. Yep, would you look at that? We have 6 drafts, all just sent via the agent. And we can see for any of these, I can click on them. You'll actually see we have, okay, so we have some fidelity branding. Obviously, this looks somewhat similar, but there'd be a lot of work that we do to the skill to make sure that it followed exactly what we wanted the fidelity brand and voice to look like. This is just a demo, of course, but you can see here, this is in my inbox waiting for me. And I love this because as the person that's hosting the event, I care a little bit less about the operational logistics and more about just getting back in front of these people. This is what true agentic AI looks like in the enterprise today. If you're interested in learning more about something like this, just let me know. Happy to hop on a call and chat. Thanks.